From the depths of the vault, this is Eerie's Vault Live, your #1 stream for the uncanny, the weird, and the unexplained. Good evening, everybody, or indeed, good afternoon, good morning, good middle of the day, wherever in the world you may be. Whatever it is, have a good one, and welcome to the show. This is Eerie's Vault Live, and I am your host, Eerie. We'll be opening up the phone lines in about 15 minutes or so if you want to be on the show, I'll tell you how to do that in just a moment. But let's begin with a shout out to my patrons, Adam Mitchell, Baroque Lobster, Buster Piles, he's here with bells on his end, apparently, Farson's Finest, Todd Van Vorest, John Douglas, Greg Russell, Gaynor Smith, Gregory, E.J. Osborne, Emu Cat, Andrew Dewey, Catman, Keith Say, Pamela Peffer, Pill Collins, Aaron Osborne, Amanda McNeil, Ben Hurl, Chris Slee, Craig McClellan, Ginger Ninja, Heather Maund Jones, Iron Bug, It's Me, Matt Carter, Melv, Natalie Leach, Paul Redruth, Rudolph Hooker, Sawboss, Steadbot, Baby with a Laser, Vincent Hegeland, Wayne Stedman, Zach T, and Bizdish143. That's B-I-Z-J D-S-H. Bizdish 143. Thank you, all of you, for joining the Patron, no matter what tier you happen to have chosen. Thank you so much. It's great to see all this interest. I hope you all enjoyed the early access video of the interview with none other than Mr. Preston Dennett. Yes, I had a wonderful conversation with Preston earlier in this week, Tuesday I think it was, and my goodness, it absolutely blew my mind. So patrons, I would love to know what you thought of all that. It was a heck of a conversation. Here is some eerie news. So the moon is drifting away. Out there in the night sky, we take the moon for granted. It's always there, isn't it? Steady, dependable, shaping the tides and lighting our night skies. But what if I told you it's leaving us? Not in a dramatic instant, not in a fiery collision, but in a slow, pretty much imperceptible retreat. According to research reported by Nicholas Menier on September the 21st, the moon is inching away from Earth at about 1.5 inches every year. That's the length of your thumbnail, roughly. Tiny, yes, but over deep time, it adds up. The slow drift is caused by tidal forces. Earth spins faster than the moon can orbit, and it drags ocean bulges just ahead of the moon's pull, and that tug transfers energy ever so slightly, and the moon uses it to climb higher in its orbit. And meanwhile, we sort of pay the price. Our rotation slows and our days get longer. Milliseconds here, seconds there, and in the far future, hours. Just think about it, 1 billion years from now, if Earth is still here, an Earth day could be 30 hours long. Imagine the different rhythm of life, a different heartbeat of the planet. And solar eclipses, well, they won't last forever either. As the moon recedes, it appears smaller in the sky, and someday, those perfect eclipses where the moon covers the sun, they'll just vanish. All of this is certain. It's written in the laws of physics, and it's playing out silently above our heads. And here is the eerie part. What we're watching is a cosmic clock winding down, second by second, with the hands turning so slowly that we can't even see them move. Have you ever felt that time itself seems to bend or slip, as though the world isn't quite keeping to its usual rhythm? And what would it mean if one day the night sky looked completely different from what we now know? Lines will be open soon, and I'd love to hear your take on that. Supercomputers and quantum teleportation. Yes, there's a territory where science fiction flirts with reality, and an article by an author known as David A. on September the 20th claimed that supercomputers have succeeded in teleportation. A leap for mankind, if it's true. In this piece, it's reported that at Oxford University, physicists have linked separate quantum processes using photonic, light-based links, performing logical quantum operations, and these separate processes teleported between modules. Now, we get excited here, but what does it actually mean? In effect, information, that is the quantum states of particles, is transferred without any physical movement of the particle. So it's not teleporting people yet. We can't just appear in Aldi, buy a pork chop and then be back home. It's not going to work like that yet. We're teleporting quantum information, the building blocks of quantum computing, actually. A recent experiment from Oxford did exactly this. They used quantum teleportation techniques to execute logical gates between qubits in distinct processes. It addresses the scalability problem of quantum computing, and instead of cramming more qubits into one monster machine, you just network modules together. Now, what if this is the tip of the pyramid and one day massive teleportation of matter becomes possible? If quantum architectures become inseparable from, I don't know, consciousness or, patterns of life, energy vortexes or whatever, could our very essence be teleported into the future? What would the side effects be as well? Would manipulating quantum entanglement at scale disrupt space-time? Would it interfere with gravity? Goodness knows. So I ask you tonight, do you believe that teleportation achieved is a real watershed, or is it a premature leap of imagination? Teleportation would be fabulous, wouldn't it? We'll head over to the chat briefly before we carry on with the news. And we've got Theme Queen UK and Stephen Truth Seeker. Hello there. Celeste, good evening. Baby with a laser, hello to you. Tools is with us. Darren Jump. Flower Bell, hello all of you. Liz S. Wonder if I might get Nick Pope on as a special guest. Well, you never know. Stranger things have happened. Buster, Sir Buster is here. Who else do we have? We've got Greg tuning in from LA. Darren Jump is here as well. Welcome all of you. Johnny A. Welcome, Johnny. WM Steadbot, good evening to you. More cowbell barbecue. Says, good. I only missed a little bit. That's good, isn't it? More cowbell barbecue. Jamie White says, good evening, guys. Great to be back. Good evening. And Mike's with us as well. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the show. More cowbell barbecue. Oh, goodness me. Thank you ever so much for the $5. That's wonderful. That's very decent of you. Thank you. Listen from Lincoln. It says, Lincoln is... I'm sure I saw another message that said, but it's in a different country. But thank you so much for that donation there. That's wonderful. Johnny A. EA Audits. Hello, EA Audits. Welcome to the show. Who else? Do we have anybody else that I've missed? DS. Hi, Eerie. Hi, DS. Welcome to the show. I think I've got you all there. Yes. So, more Eerie news here. The ghosts of an ancient lineage. So 2 mummies, 7,000 years old, have been discovered in what is now southwestern Libya. But these are not relics of peoples whose blood flows in our veins. According to recent genomic analyses, they belong to a lineage that shares no significant DNA with any known modern human population. Any known human population. Scientists working in the Takakori Rock Shelter recovered the remains of herders from the Green Sahara era, at a time when the desert was lush and teeming with life, and after sequencing their genomes, researchers found that these mummies represent a previously unknown branch of humanity, which diverged from other African populations tens of thousands of years ago and then remained largely genetically isolated. What's even more startling is that while these people practiced pastoralism, which is raising livestock, they seem to have not mixed very much, if at all, with neighbouring human groups. In other words, a culture was sort of shared, but genes appear to not have been. Imagine a human branch flourishing in the deep past, now completely vanished from our genetic record. They left footprints and tools and bones, but no trace in us. So here's the question I put to you tonight. What if there were many such ghost lineages, human peoples whose stories and bloodlines are lost, erased by time? What exactly does that do to how we see human history, our story, when we realise we might only know one tiny little thread of a far larger tapestry? And if you've had your eye on the news, you might have seen that apparently we can get to Mars in 10 days from Earth. Just think about that. We can get to Mars in 10 days. I have my doubts, given that rail systems can't even get you from one place to another when they say they will. Who knows? But Mars in 10 days. So imagine this. You board a craft tonight, okay? You get on a craft tonight, and then in less than 2 weeks, you're walking on Mars. No months drifting in endless emptiness, no agonizing transits through cosmic radiation, just 10 days. Bold, yes. Audacious, maybe. Impossible? Who knows? It's exactly the claim that's been making waves online, however, that somehow, somewhere, the boundaries of propulsion have been shattered. Some scientists and futurists point to new research in directed energy propulsion. This is lasers pushing ultralight sails, hydrogen heated by photons, exotic propulsion systems that combine high thrust and extreme efficiency. One paper even suggests 20-day transit missions using laser-driven light sails as a stepping stone. Beyond that, some speculative extrapolations rather, imagine that with enough scaling, 10-day voyages might become possible. The more grounded proposals are daring enough. In another design, engineers propose a hybrid laser thermal propulsion system. Earth-based lasers. This is beaming energy to a spacecraft in near cislunar space. So heating hydrogen propellant and then exhausting it to drive at high speed. So we're still in the realms of we must expel mass to achieve velocity, which many of the UFO, supporters say is not the way they fly at all. But we're not talking UFOs necessarily here. It's just curious that we're still in the we must expel mass to propel sort of school of talk. Under ideal conditions, some of the designs talk of 30 to 45-day transits. So the more you read this, the more long it gets. So where did 10 days come from? Well, it's a bit of hype, isn't it? It's a bit of over-enthusiastic media reinterpretation, because as of now, sadly, no credible mission architecture exists that supports a human trip to Mars in 10 days, not with known materials. And of course, we cannot ignore life support constraints, can we? But what if there are shortcuts? So what's your opinion, you guys, on the deep fabric of space? Do shortcuts already exist? Corridors we haven't found yet that allow us to jump through the cosmos faster than light? Captain Janeway found one of those, didn't she? She certainly did. If someone boarded a spaceship tonight with the claim Mars in 10 days, would you believe them? Or would you call it a con? I mean, how would we know? Where do you draw the line between dreams and science and fake reports? It's impossible, really, for us. Call in. Let's talk about cosmic speed. Let's talk about warp speeds and all of that sort of stuff. Have a chat about it when we open the lines in a short while. And we have a bit of quantum entanglement news in our final piece. So imagine two atoms buried deep in silicon, separated by a tiny space, but they are able to talk to one another, not in human speech, of course, but in the strange language of quantum states. According to a recent report from phys.org, engineers at the University of New South Wales have managed just that. They have entangled atomic nuclei so that they can exchange quantum information across the gap, effectively make atoms chat long distance. It's quite similar to the teleportation piece we were discussing earlier, but they've used phosphorus atoms implanted in a silicon chip, encoding quantum bits, which has been abbreviated to qubits, in their nuclear spin. They're apparently extremely clean quantum objects, well shielded from noise and interference. One researcher said, until now, nuclei were like people placed in a soundproof room. They could talk to each other as long as they were in the same room, but couldn't hear anything from the outside. With this breakthrough, it's as if we gave them telephones to communicate with each other. What's striking is that this isn't just a laboratory curiosity. The distances involved are on the same scale as modern silicon chip manufacturing will allow, which means the leap towards scalable quantum architectures is more plausible. Are we glimpsing the infrastructure of a future quantum internet here under our feet? One that might someday carry not only data, but think about this, fragments of us, pieces of memory, our very presence. Makes you think, doesn't it? And would we come to rely on this as our technological future? I think we would. I think they really would. But within these signals, what else might we find? What unintended noise that we cannot detect right now might we stumble upon when we open all this up? Ghost signals, echoes from other dimensions, or residual impressions. Have any of you ever experienced a ping in your mind, a fleeting thought or memory that feels like a signal from somewhere else completely? And if atoms are whispering across distances, what else in nature might already be doing this? Webs of consciousness. Linked fragments of each other. The lines will be open soon, so let the atoms ripple through the phones tonight. Let's hear what you think of all that. We shall be opening the lines in a couple of minutes here, so here are the rules of the road for you. Okay, so if you want to be on the show, and I know a lot of people know the score now, but if you want to be on the show, there's a few ways to do it. Okay, so we have WhatsApp. You can send a message to WhatsApp, and this is ideal for people outside of the UK, but of course you must have WhatsApp on your phone. But you send a WhatsApp message to 07903 775 Now, the number will be on screen during the broadcast, so don't worry. Doing that puts you into the callback queue, and then I, surprisingly, call you back, of course, and then you're on the show, you're on the live, and we can chat about whatever you want. The other way is, if you're in the UK, you can call the UK number, which will be on screen during the broadcast. And for our friends in the USA, since viewership seems to be about 50-50 UK and USA, then there is a dedicated America number. It's a New York City number, actually, and that'll be given out in the show as well. So 3 ways there to call in and speak on the show. And of course, if you're a bit too shy to do that, I will accept submitted stories, opinions, and things like that on email, and that is eeriesvault@gmail.com. Now, all these contact numbers and email addresses will be on the screen soon. So what do you share? If you sat there thinking, well, I don't have a story, you don't need a story to chat to me on the show. I love a good story. If you do have a story, something you've encountered, something a friend or family member has encountered, whether or not you can explain it, whether or not you think it's good enough, I want to hear about it. I want to hear your stories tonight. And that's what the audience are here for too. In addition to that, we can talk about your opinions on existing known cases. Let's say, I don't know, the Enfield poltergeist. Let's have a chat about that thing. The Loch Ness Monster. Let's have a chat about that thing. Your opinions, your theories, your research that you've done, anything like that that you want to chat about, we can do it. That's really what the show is about. Of course, my favourite thing would be to talk to a monster hunter who hunts Bigfoot. That's really, if you're out there, I want you to call me next. That's what I want. I want a Bigfoot hunter. That's what I want this time round. Yes, so that's what we do. You can share all of that kind of thing. No bad language if you can help it. No politics, no hatred. This is about paranormal mystery. It's not about modern madness. Okay? And by participating in a call, you of course consent to being broadcast live. Of course you do. And possibly edited into clips. I don't share your number, I don't share your identity, nothing like that. So really, in a nutshell, get in touch, have fun, have a good chat about the spooky sort of stuff we enjoy, and then make sure you don't say anything that you don't want on YouTube forever. That's the thing to be careful, because it's you that makes the show. It's your knowledge, it's your experience, and your opinions. That's what really makes this interesting for me and for everybody out there listening, many of whom, as we saw in last week's show, many of whom will have had similar experiences to you in their lifetime. And it's what makes the show so very, very interesting. Here's how to get in touch. To take part in tonight's show, there are a number of options. You can send a message on WhatsApp giving a brief outline of what it is you want to discuss, and then wait for my call back. Alternatively, for UK residents, you can call direct on 0141 673 3743 to join the call queue and get through to the live show. And for listeners in the US, you can also call on 929 673 3743. That's 929 Mr. Eerie. That's a New York City number. And if you're too shy to call, then you can always email eeriesvault@gmail.com with your story or your theory, whatever it is you want to talk about, and I can read it out for you on air and state. Remember, this is your show, and I am waiting for your call. Strange encounters, theories about the paranormal, questions about some of the cases I've covered on the channel, whatever it is, as long as it's weird, I want to hear it. Call now to be on Eerie's Vault Live. This is Eerie's Vault Live, and I am your host, Eerie, and this is your #1 stream for the weird, the strange, and the unexplained. That's right, it is your #1. I think it's your #1 location for the weird and the unexplained. I don't know what you think about tonight's video that's gone out. Not been quite as viewed as some of the most recent ones, and it's about fictional characters and, made-up characters crossing over into our reality. It's something that came up in the interview with Preston, actually, a similar sort of theme about realities and consciousnesses and things like that. So that's tonight's video. Hopefully it does well. And we shall see, shan't we? So yes, the lines are open now. You can see the numbers on the screen there. The email address is on the screen as well. I do have a few emails to go through, luckily. But I can see in the chat here a few people sort of debating about calling in for the show. By all means, do call in. That's what this show absolutely is. Baby with a laser, yes, I got your Purple Light Experience email. Thank you. I have one from Celeste, one from Darren, Eric as well. Darren, yes. And John Mooner. I don't know if you're there, John, but you sent me a couple from last week that we shall look at as well. So we shall kick off with an email from Celeste, which is a time slip story for you. And Celeste says, at about 15 years ago, I moved into the house I now live in, which is quite close to the countryside. Every other weekend or so, my brother would come and visit me, and we took to exploring the local countryside on weekend walks. One weekend, about a mile from my house, we came across a river, just down a small hill. This river lies directly ahead of you as you approach it, with a man-made path in front which you can walk along either going left or right. We saw some people turning left and decided to go that way, and here the river opens, where we could see the occasional man fishing interspersed with swans and egrets, ducks, and etc. Pretty idyllic settling. We did this same walk for a few weekends until I said to my brother, let's go to the river and walk on the right-hand side of the path. So off we trotted. Now this path was quite narrow, with one side being a small embankment of bracken, hedges and small trees, all thick with growth. On our left was the river, and we were walking along chit-chatting when we saw a kingfisher, which was amazing, as it just sitting quietly on a branch, whereas normally you just see a blue flash as it flies by. After watching, we carried on walking, and when the path just kind of suddenly ended in front of us, where there was a sturdy country gate. We walked up to it and could see a lovely lush green field with a woodland in the distance. The sky was a beautiful blue, not a cloud to be seen, and I said to my brother, "Let's go through the field to that woodland." It just looked so inviting. And just as I said, I noticed Frisian cows on the right-hand side of this field. Now, I'm quite dubious about going into fields with cows, having read the odd tale of people being trampled by them, so we decided not to go and turned around to walk back down the path. Anyway, a couple of weekends later, my brother came to visit again, and we decided to go back to that field, thinking maybe the farmer had moved the cows to some other field. And again, we took the right-hand path, this time walking a bit faster, because we knew it wasn't very far. But we just kept walking, and walking, and walking. There was no sign of it. We knew we should have come across it well before where we were, but we couldn't believe it. And I saw then that the path continued as far as the eye could see. We then saw two old ladies coming towards us, and I knew it was silly, but I had to ask them how long the path had been there, and they told me, well, for many years. After that I returned many times, and I have never seen this field again. But I have noticed, as each winter approaches when the bracken and the hedges are sparse, I can see an old, mouldy, weather-beaten, broken gate poking out of the brambles. I'm wondering if it was the one light-coloured, new-looking gate that we had seen. Well, thank you, Celeste. That's a pretty creepy one, isn't it? There's something about places that appear to vanish. Places that appear to vanish. It's very, very, very... just... because seeing a figure is understandably frightening, right? Being in front of an alien is understandably frightening, but it's that sort of sensation of having lost yourself for just enough time for that to have happened. Did we go somewhere else? Did it appear and disappear? Very creepy. And if you're not paying attention, it's odd, isn't it, to think how many times has that happened and you haven't noticed? How many turns in life have you taken which were not actually the path you were on? Doesn't bear thinking about, does it? It's very, very creepy, is that whole area. Thank you, Celeste. Now we have Darren and a new story. So as a young lad in the mid-1970s, I have memories of my older brother coming home from work and saying he was walking home when a purple-coloured tubular flash of light came out of nowhere, hit the ground and spiralled upwards in a flash. I even used to tell people about it when the subject of paranormal came up on the rare occasion. Years later, I asked him about it, and he just looked at me like I was crazy, saying no such thing happened to him, and it baffled me. He's a snaky skeptic on such things, so I just put it down to him not wanting to admit it happened, or perhaps he'd even forgotten. Either way, I was sure I hadn't imagined him saying it. Fast forward to about 2004, and I bumped into my old mate who lived about 4 doors down from me as kids. He married at 18, and we lost contact after that. So we were pleased to bump into each other, and after greeting each other and got the beer in, the first thing he said to me is, "I've been dying to bump into you. I've been wanting to ask you something for ages, about something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Do you remember the purple tube thing?" I didn't get what he was saying at first until what he said next hit me like a bombshell, and it all came flooding back, remembering every tiny detail. He says, "Don't you remember? We were walking back from the baths and the sky went weird, and as soon as he mentioned the sky, it all came flooding back. What I'd thought had happened to my brother had actually happened to me and my friend, and details came back from the mists of time and solidified as we spoke. We'd both been walking back from the local swimming baths as we turned the corner onto the road where we lived on, and the sky took on a different appearance that I could not begin to describe, and the clouds turned golden. All of a sudden, a purple tubular-coloured light came down to the ground and spiralled upward around both of us. It all happened in a brief moment, and it was over. We looked at each other and both just ran like hell. He ran in his house, I ran in mine, and we never spoke about it again. I've got no idea why I linked this to my brother. It just deepens the mystery. For the record, we were about 11 or 12 years old, so to make it about 76 or 77. The event happened on the corner of Woodhouse Lane in Manchester. All the best, Eerie. Love the show. Well, this bizarre purple story thing, as Buster says in the chat, indeed, it is not the first one we have heard on the show, is it? And that intrigues me because it is not a singular thing. What on earth is it doing? Is it scanning people? Is it searching for something? Very odd. What do we think about that one, you guys? The purple-coloured tubular light. Yes, indeed. Eric sends us our next one, and I can see some things coming through on the WhatsApp there, so I shall take a look at those in a moment. Eric says, hello, my name is Eric. Well, there you go. I'm a subscriber and constant listener of your channel. I love all your stories and how you deliver them. I was going to call in, but decided to email. So, as my encounter goes, I don't remember the day, month, or year it happened, but I'd say it was about 5 years ago. I'm in South Carolina, in the States. I worked night shift at an automotive part manufacturing facility. I went outside and got in my truck. I usually do that when I take my break. So on my break, sometime probably about 3 a.m., through my windshield, I saw what looked like an airplane. It was far away, but it was flying at low altitude, heading straight towards me, but steadily, at a slow pace. This whole time I'm thinking, why is it flying so low? And I estimate it took about 5 minutes to reach me. But when it got close enough, I was like, no way. It was a huge ship with a different coloured lights blinking under it, and it flew right over me and made absolutely no sound. I was so mesmerised, I didn't even think to get a photo or video. I'm not sure if anyone else saw it, because people took breaks at different times. I didn't hear anyone talk about it, and what's even weirder is that this happened in a populated area. I'm sure there were people at the night gas station when it crossed the highway, and where I am's not remote or rural. It makes me wonder if only select individuals are able to see these things at certain moments. Could at least some of these craft and beings be holographic or projections? Thanks for reading. Love your channel. Wow. Well, strange how these synchronicities come together, isn't it? That you should mention, Eric, and thank you very much for that encounter, that you should mention holographs and projections, because only a few days ago I released a video about the Birmingham Arc, which was a very small piece embedded in, I think it was, Unusual Encounters or something. I've forgotten the author's name now. It's on the credits of the video, where a craft was seen that was really described as a holographic projection of another room somewhere. And for your question about maybe only certain people to get to see them, well, that is the mystery, isn't it? It's the mystery of it all. What is it, in fact? What is it at all? Crazy, isn't it? Now then, who else do we have here? We've got a couple of things from John, which we will get to in a moment. Now, EA Audits, going to give you a call on the WhatsApp. Let me just switch to that necessary screen. And here we go. Good evening. You're on Eerie's Vault Live.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. I'm just watching the live, so I must be behind.
Oh yes, there will be a bit of a delay. Yes.
Because Stephen's saying to me to calm down, right? But I mean, how am I supposed to calm down after what just happened? Because what can I? Right, he said start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, let's begin at the beginning and let's see what got us here.
Yeah, let's put you on pause because otherwise you could be echoing in the background. Right, okay, sorry.
That's all right.
What do I refer to you as, Eeries?
Liam, that's fine.
Liam.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, right. Now, this is about, goodness me, about 5 years ago. I went to this area. And it's near a landfill site. Now, I think that is important because every time I go to this place, I get lightheadedness, sickness, and stuff that makes me feel ill for days afterwards.
Okay.
And it might be associated with the landfill site because all the way around this landfill site, there's pipes coming out of the ground, which presumably is to release the gas from the site.
Okay.
And what my thoughts is that they've got this area around the site as a buffer zone so that nobody goes too near the toxic site. That's my thought. That's my theory.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. A bit, and also because I've never seen anyone else on this land. It's called Wakefield Common. And it's interesting because someone was saying about the purple light thing.
Mm.
My auntie, who's now passed away, I mean, they've lived in Wakefield since, she would be sort of 100 years old now, but they lived in Wakefield their whole lives. And she had a story from that area about purple mist that's because they used to go sort of hunting for rabbits basically through the war. They had nothing else to eat. And one time they were out there and got surrounded by a purple mist. This is the story. The reason I believe this story is because my dad had a stroke when he was about 80, and we went to visit my auntie who lived in the Midlands at that time, and she hadn't seen my dad for about 25 years. I took my dad and mum and dad up to see, that was his sister, and the first thing that she said to him was, "Do you remember that purple mist?" That's the first thing she said to him after 25 years of not seeing him.
Mm.
She said, when we were children, they were out on the common because it's now Foulness and there's like a military base there. So you're not allowed to go onto that area. It's all off. It's all sort of off, not open to the public.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, Foulness. And apparently it followed them all the way back to the village, what would have been the village back then, back to Wakefield before sort of releasing them, as it were. But I mean, it just surrounded them, and that was this is the same area. It's what called Wakefield Common, so it goes all the way round the coast sort of thing. And I mean, there is something about the area that is, I can't explain it. It's an atmosphere. It's like it's something. There's something about the whole area. There was quite a big channel, a chap who goes all the way around the country. He visits, he does walks. That's right, he does walks. A chap with a beard. I can't think of his name, but he does these walks around Britain. And there's a pathway that goes out into the sea called the Devil's Causeway, I think it's called. And he was looking to visit this Devil's Causeway because it was the most dangerous part. It's listed as the most dangerous pathway in Britain because it goes out onto the mudflats and the tidal thing. And most people have died on this pathway.
I see. Yeah.
But when he went there, even though he couldn't find the actual pathway itself, he picked up immediately on what I'm talking about. He said the whole area, because it's haunting. He says it's haunting. The area is haunting. That was the expression he used, and he's no nonsense. That guy. He's not about. There's nothing about his channel to do with supernatural or anything else. I mean, so am I. I'm the sort of person that doesn't. I don't really have much. Is it? So I don't usually get freaked out by these things. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and what like so about 5 years ago ish, I was metal detecting. I used to do metal detecting quite a lot, and I mean pointless as it was because it's very low lying to the. Wakering is one of the areas that got flooded in 1953. A lot of people died there. Canvey Island. I'm in Essex, and Canvey Island is another low-lying place. It's very low-lying, this area.
Right.
So to metal detect there was quite pointless, really, because it's only been the last sort of 100 years or so that it's been above sea level.
Right. You're not going to find any Roman coins or anything then. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like most of it's been underwater for most of the time. Now, but I was metal detecting it anyway. Because you do. I mean, in the war, they had some of the American servicemen getting ready for the Dunkirk landings.
Right.
They were preparing there on these fields, so you can occasionally find stuff. Anyway, I was metal detecting, and it was getting darker. So I was near my ending. I hadn't found anything. But so I was quite keen to find something, and I had a hit, and I was looking to dig this hit up, this beep up. And as I say, I've never seen anyone in this whole area. People don't walk their dogs there. I don't know whether they've had the same experience of coming away feeling ill with headaches, but I've never seen anyone there at all, even at the landfill site. Never seen anyone. There's never not one person. And as I'm just doing my metal detecting, I've turned round and I've seen this figure, this person. Nothing untoward. All I can say is that I didn't get his features, because it was getting dark. Because it just seemed to be. I only got a general look. Glance at him. And I sort of looked back down at I was thinking, he's going to be someone from the plant, from the landfill site, who's coming over to tell me not to metal detect.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't see any features on this face. It was just blank. But that said, I wouldn't be able to stand up in court and say that, because I only took one glance at him, then looked down at my dig again and thought, right, I'll dig this up before he comes over and moans. I looked back, and without taking a step, he'd moved forward by about 20 feet through long grass. And that was it. I ran, just dropped everything and ran.
Yeah.
Because of the feeling that I was having at the time, a feeling that I'd forgotten all about until this afternoon, when stupidly I've gone back and I had forgotten the feeling that I felt that time, even though I hadn't, because I've told Stephen Trueseeker, I told him all about this before. and got it over to him, but I'd forgotten the feeling that you get over there. And then today I've gone over there, and there was piles and piles and piles and piles of cockle shells. Now, why on earth would there be piles and piles? I don't know if anyone knows any farming reason why there would be. I mean, literally 50 piles, like huge piles of cockle shells, had been sort of not dumped, but sort of they brought all these cockle shells and put them in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
I have no idea why anybody would want to put, whether there's a farming reason or anything, if anyone knows any reason why anybody would do that. I've got no idea. I've never seen anything like it before. And yes, right. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. I've never, I don't know anything, the reason why all these cockle shells were there. So I've sort of continued walking around. And then I got on the other side of this ditch from the cockle shell. And then it's unmistakable, isn't it? It's unmistakable, the smell of death. That smell of death. I mean, even if it's a dead fox or something, that smell. I've still got that smell in my nose right now from what happened earlier. And I've not smelled anything like that before. I've smelt dead foxes, and I've smelt, I've not smelt maybe a dead deer or something, but whatever it is, there's something in that ditch which is well overgrown. There was nothing to suggest anything had been thrown in there recently. Yeah. And I did get as close as I possibly could, with my face covered, because the stench was horrible. But it's on the other side of the cockle shells. Now, cockle shells smell. They do smell.
They do.
Yeah. But this one area, and also my dog picked up on it as well. My dog had already sort of, he'd smelt it first, obviously. And so I've gone over to this ditch. Whatever is in that ditch, and why those cockle shells are piled up there, there's something in that ditch that's dead.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yep. And this is what I'm saying to Stephen. I want to go back over there, but there's more. Yeah, there's more. I've been there about, I don't know, 10 times. About 10 times. Every time I go there, I seem to find the place seems to change. When I went there last time and saw the faceless man, as we call him.
Yes.
I went after that to see how this man had got from, I couldn't see him, to I can
close.
see him. There is a road
through the long grass.
There is a
road
where the lorries, where the wet refuse trucks bring all the rubbish. So there's a private road, and it drives up to the landfill site, and presumably because you can't get anywhere near the landfill site. And I went back a couple of times, but I went back with a friend first, and we both got caught. We could hear this flapping noise, this metallic flapping noise, and that's again the methane.
Yes,
the gas sort of coming off the site.
It's
being released. Yeah. But by the time we got to near the landfill site, it's so toxic, the fumes presumably that we both became lightheaded, headaches, and felt ill.
And it'll do that to you. It will.
Yeah, and so we both basically ran for it to get out of that arena, and we were both ill for days afterwards. And so I'm in this same site, but today I didn't go into that area where the landfill is. I didn't go anywhere near the landfill really today, and yet I still got the same feeling of lightheadedness, and I mean, I don't feel ill now, but I'm really shaken up. It's really hard to explain. I went to this other area behind the ditch, and I wasn't happy with that because the ditch had sort of cut me off, so I couldn't get back. I thought I couldn't get back unless I crossed the ditch.
Yeah.
So I had to go past the dead body smell thing. And as I walked up to this thing, and don't forget, I've been there quite a few times, there's a pipe sticking out of the ground in the middle of a field. Now, don't forget, this is a salt marsh area, basically. And even the farmers' fields, there's nothing grows there because it's so salty, or whatever. And I get to the pipe thinking it's just someone's dumped a cement pipe there, and lo and behold, it goes down by about 50 feet or something ridiculous. As far as you can see, this pipe goes right down, and it's full of water, obviously at the bottom. And I've got no idea why anybody would want to dig a well there or anything else. But, someone said it's a well, but I don't think it's a well, because I can't see any reason why anybody would want to build a well there. It's miles from anywhere. You're miles from anywhere. And that thing, if Stephen's listening, the thing with this is going to sound stupid, I know, but there was crows nearby, and as soon as I looked into that well, this is what I did. And I did this live earlier on. As soon as I looked into the well, these crows went absolutely crazy, and I was having this. It's impossible to explain, but this weird experience yet again, in this same place, where my auntie had this purple mist story, and there was also a farm nearby that I've always looked at this farm with a bit, they're a bit weird in this. It's they've got a big long driveway. It's a big mansion house, but I've never seen that. The only time I've ever heard anything come out of that house was during, I'm not sure if I can say it on here, but the COVID, the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
And they were having a party. And that's the one time when no one was supposed to be having parties, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Lockdown and all that. Yeah.
And that's why I remember it. It would have been around that. That's actually dates when I was there. So that would have been 2020.
Yes.
So this is 5 years later. And, that 5 years ago that I had this first experience about the faceless man, as we refer to him now. I mean, it's not really right for me to say that, because I only glanced at him twice.
Yeah, you're not 100% sure, are you? So, yeah.
No, because at that time I had it sort of faded from memory, like I've almost forgotten it.
Yes,
I've forgotten it until today.
Yeah.
Because I had that feeling already. And today, if anything had happened, really, I didn't see anything. Stephen says that he did see something on the live, but I didn't see anything. It's just a feeling.
Yeah. And
really, I suppose what I would like to ask from your chat and from yourself, maybe, is if there's any empaths amongst you. Do you know what's an empath? Somebody who can read between the lines, because Stephen,
feel what you're feeling, and
Stephen, for some reason, is saying to me, "Don't go back. Whatever you do, don't go back." He's got the feeling that there's danger there, and that's interesting because that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I felt really threatened earlier today.
I must admit,
my spine was.
I must admit, there are places that I will never go back to because of certain experiences that I've had there. And I know that if I do go back, I may be open to it again. And so I just close that door. I just close it off.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm sort of. I don't want to go back. I'll be honest with you. I do not want to go back. However, like someone's saying there about pipes coming out of the ground that indicate a plague burial pit. Even though there's a lot of mosquito, because it's so low lying. There's a lot of mosquitoes and stuff there, and there was a malaria outbreak around 1900. But they wouldn't have a burial pit there. I think the pipes are to do with the landfill.
It could, but I think you'll have landfill pipes that are getting the methane out of there. You've also got experimental underground drainage that happens in salt marshes, which is plastic pipes being fitted to sort of connect pockets of water to hollows, as it were, and reduce the level in that area altogether. So that also is around.
Yeah, they are plastic. The pipes coming out are plastic. Yeah, they are plastic.
Yeah.
But the well, this well thing, I'll tell you what it reminded me of was that film, the Ring. You know, The Ring.
Oh God, yeah, I do.
Yeah, and when I put all I had was my other phone to put the torch down, and like then I could see the water at the bottom. But I mean, then and only then there was something else down there.
And then the crows went mental as well. Yeah.
And then the crows went absolutely bananas. Yeah, because I mean, and Stephen must have. I think maybe he's got some sort of empathic ability, because he was saying exactly as I was feeling. Today, I got reminded what the expression "spine chilling" means.
Yes.
It was there was one particular point just before I got to that well. And the dog was acting very strange as well. You know, like the dog does, you know, they do that sort of scuffing the floor as if someone's there, you know, like a defensive stance sort of thing.
Yes.
And it's very unlike him to sort of to act like that.
Gosh.
And the atmosphere, I mean, if there's anyone who's interested in the paranormal, which I am interested in that, but I've never... I've never sort of seen any ghosts or aliens or anything like that, can't say it's a feeling. It's just a feeling.
Yeah, I understand. And sometimes that's enough, I mean, I'll be honest with you, everything about this is screaming, don't go there again, to me. It really is. Not because,
what makes you say that?
Not because of an implied danger even, but it just seems that there's so many signs. You felt it before you got there, the crows acting weird and the dog acting weird.
No one ever goes there, even though there's another sort of a site locally that's a dog walking site, and it's really busy, really busy. There's people coming and going all the time. On this bit, which is only 5 minutes away, not one person. I've never seen one person there. Like, no one, not dog walkers, just ramblers. Nothing at all. Nobody ever goes there.
Maybe they all have similar feelings about the place. There's some places that just feel like that, and it's that gut. It's the difference between your gut feeling, because you've got gut feelings, but you've also got chatter in your head, and the chatter can talk you out of things, Shall I go out tonight? No, I won't, because this, that, and the other. That can talk you out of things. But then below that, there's this gut feeling. And I really do think that's a sort of primordial safety mechanism myself. I do. Yeah.
But I do care, but I don't care about my safety. If you see what I mean.
Yes.
I don't. I had a channel until recently, and it was all based on that. Instead of like sort of protecting myself and running from my fears, I washed my face in the sink of fear. Do you know?
I understand. Yeah. Trying to sort of face it head on, and
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like an OCD thing now, because
I see. Yes,
all I want to do now is go back, even though I don't want to go back.
Yeah, and I sort of get that, and I'm no expert, don't get me wrong, but if I think about putting myself in your shoes there, I would take the easy way and I'd just forget about it. That's me personally. That's what I would be feeling right now.
Yeah, there's nothing for me to gain out of it.
Yeah.
But what I said to Stephen, and what I've sort of, the way I have been sort of doing it, is that if I'm streaming it, if I'm doing a live stream and something does happen to me, then at least it's gonna happen on camera. Do you see what I mean?
Gosh, so is this on YouTube? Are you live streaming these on YouTube somewhere?
No, well, I was at this today. It was on TikTok,
Okay,
and
right.
The other channel's sort of gone now. But I probably would do it either on TikTok or YouTube. I could do it on either.
I see.
They're not big channels, you know. I've got sort of 5,000 or something on one of the YouTube channels.
Not bad. Not bad.
But it wouldn't matter really, even though there's only sort of 3 or 4 people in the live. I just feel protected by it or something, because the phone battery went to die earlier on, and I really panicked. I went, oh my God, my battery's gonna, as if the live dying would. I know that other people have done this. I've seen people do it online, and it's not turned out very well. But it just feels like the live sort of protects me, or something else.
I can sort of see what you mean. Yeah, it's almost nothing will happen on camera sort of feeling, isn't it? So I'm all right. Yeah, it's a minefield, really. As I say, I'm no expert. Let's throw it out to the chat then. Let's ask them one defining question before we wrap up. What one question would you ask people listening to this?
Do you think I should go back?
There we go. Do we think you should go back? I wouldn't, but that's my personal view. Let's see what you guys in the chat think.
King Plum says I'd avoid it like the plague. Stephen says avoid it.
There you go. I would.
Sounds like, I'm really grateful to you, because I feel better about getting it off my chest.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's half the battle.
Even though I don't want to, I do feel like I'm going to go back, but I don't want to. No, I shouldn't. Darren says don't go back. I really, and that's really helpful.
They're saying
with cameras rolling. Thank you, Steadbot.
Definitely. Whatever it is.
I'm much obliged to you. Thank you.
Whatever you do, take care in whatever you're doing. Just, and try and separate some of the things that might be just logical, drainage pipes and stuff like that, and try not to let it all become the same thing, if you know what I mean. Try and separate things out into what they are. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, because there were steps going down into that well. And like somebody said, what about going down into the well?
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, and there must be something on TV or something like that we can watch instead. Instead of going down a well in the dark. Yes. Well, let's ask the guys, but by all means, just be careful. Whatever you're doing, please be careful.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for letting me.
Not a problem.
I will film it, Celeste.
All right. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you. Good night.
And you. Thank you. Thank you.
My goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Well, no pun intended there by saying well. Sorry about that. I would not I wouldn't go in. I wouldn't go again. There is one place where I had an experience I can't ever tell anybody about, for fear of it opening up myself to the thing again. I would not go back to my place. I would never go back to that place again. Never. Because I have the feeling that something might be waiting there. And it probably isn't, I'm talking about my personal experience now. It probably isn't. And I feel like it's just not a good idea for me to go back into that place again. So what do you guys think? That was a heck of a call, wasn't it? Let's just take a small break, shall we? The YouTube show is only a part of the vault. Beyond the broadcast is the archive. And at eeriesvault.com you'll find our growing library of case files, first-hand accounts of the unexplained, written reports from people who lived through something strange. And we need yours. If you've carried a story for years, if you've never had the chance to put it into words, and this is where it belongs, Your report will stand alongside others, building a record that may one day help us see patterns that we cannot see alone. And it's easy. Go to eeriesvault.com, open the Case Files page, and hit the Submit a Case button. Fill in the details and send it on its way. Because strange events pass quickly into silence unless someone records them. Don't let your story vanish. Put it in the vault. From the depths of the vault, this is Eerie's Vault Live. Every Friday at 9 p.m. GMT, the lines are open. UFOs, aliens, ghosts, strange creatures, time slips, encounters you cannot explain. If you've seen something unusual, if something has haunted you, followed you, or simply left you wondering, then this is your place to tell it. Call in and share your story. You can watch the show live on YouTube or stream it directly at eeriesvault.com. And if you're too shy to call, then you can email ahead of the show at eeriesvault@gmail.com, and I will read your story out for you on air. That's Eerie's Vault Live, Friday nights, 9 p.m. GMT. Be part of it. For those of you who want to go deeper, there is the Eerie's Vault Patreon. Here you'll find the evidence. Original newspaper clippings, forgotten publications, rare documents. You'll see the raw material behind the stories, and you'll gain access to exclusive videos, some filmed on location at the very places we discuss, and you'll be able to watch private follow-up videos to the cases already covered on the main channel. It's not just about watching here, it's about joining the search, and by supporting the Vault, you help to keep the archive alive, help uncover more material, and help to bring these stories into the light. And if you've ever wondered what all these marks are on this map here, well, patrons get access to this interactive encounters map to peruse at their leisure. It gets updated regularly and will grow to be one of the most comprehensive encounters maps in the world. If you've ever wanted to be closer to the investigation, if you've ever wanted to see what lies behind the curtain, then Patreon is where it begins. And with numerous membership options, what are you waiting for? Head over to the Vault. This is Eerie's Vault Live, and I am your host, Eerie, and this is your number one stream for the weird, the strange, and the unexplained. That's right, and what a show it's been so far. Yes, so the lines are open, as you can see. We have the WhatsApp number, which is 07903 775 899. That's probably just scrolling across the top of your screen right now. We have the UK number, which is 0141 673 3743. That's 0141 673 3743. And in the USA, we have a New York City number, which is 929 673 3743. That's 929 Mr. Eerie. And if you're outside of New York City, of course, it's 1929 Mr. Eerie. Or you can email eeriesvault.com. That's wrong, isn't it? eeriesvault@gmail.com. That's what you can email. So that's how you can also submit your stories. The lines are open. Be brave. Give us a call. That's what I say. Now, I'm going to head over to the case files page on eeriesvault.com. Did you hear that dreadful clicking noise then? That's my ancient chair, which isn't ancient. It's quite new. I think I've had it maybe 5 or 6 months. And it's one of those spinning chairs with wheels on, and it just clicks and... Listen. That's me just moving in the chair. It's dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So if you keep hearing that, I'm very sorry about that. If you keep hearing that. Jamie says, anyone else who thinks this interlude music reminds them of the TV series Airwolf? Gosh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good praise. I think I'll take that. Yes, Buster, you're quite right. I did write the music that is used. That particular piece is called Prophecy. Look out, we have a call. Let me jump to the right screen. Don't hang up just yet. Good evening. You're on Eerie's Vault Live.
Hello, Eerie. How are you?
Hello, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Doing well. I think I'm coming down with a cold, but so far so good.
Oh, don't breathe that down the phone to me. No.
I don't know whether it would interest you to talk about it, but haunted objects.
Okay, psychometry, etc. Yes.
Well, I was I used to watch a program, I think it was on Discovery, called Haunted Collector. And I'm wondering if anybody in the chat or yourself have had any experience of haunted or kind of spooky objects.
Haunted Collector. Let's have a look at this. John Zaffis is a paranormal investigator who's been asked to consult on hauntings for nearly a decade. How does one get a job like that, one wonders? Haunted objects, not personally. What about yourself?
There is one object that we did have, which I don't know whether it's haunted or whether it's just a feeling that every time somebody touched it. I can tell you that story, but I will have to censor some of the things because YouTube reasons. Okay,
I understand, yes.
Okay, so my grandfather was in World War II, so if you might know where this is coming from. He decided that he was going to bring home some treasures.
Okay.
Treasures. I'll just say treasures in quotation marks.
So we're talking, I think I understand, we're talking not actual treasures, but something that shouldn't have been brought, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Yes, okay.
It wasn't illegal to own them. They could bring them home, but personally, we didn't like them in the home.
Okay.
And we've since sold them. So one of these particular items was to do with a certain party. Again, I won't name it. I'll be vague. I'll just let you come to the conclusion.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
And my granddad brought a medal home. Again, I don't know where he got this medal from, but it must have been from someone who was particularly high up in the ranks in a certain army. And that one didn't give us any problem. We could touch that. We weren't bothered about it. But there was one, and it was a belt buckle. And it was made out of, I believe it was like I'm not entirely sure, it was like a metal belt buckle. And it was kept in a leather pouch out of the way. My dad would put it into a drawer in the corner, and nobody would touch that pouch bar him. But sometimes he would take it out and he would show, family, oh, look, remember this medal, remember this coin.
Mm.
And this belt buckle had a certain insignia on. Again, if everybody gets my drift.
I think I understand. Yes, yeah, I think I get you.
Yep. It was, again, very vague because YouTube being YouTube.
And it's the Japanese kanji for temple, isn't it? This same symbol.
Yes.
It is.
Yes, it's a kanji for temple.
Yes.
So every time that this bag would be brought out, there'd always be like a very heavy atmosphere. It was as though every time that the bag was taken out, it was as though there was a heavy atmosphere in the room, and you sort of felt like something was not like as though the atmosphere was pushing down on you.
Mm.
So my dad, a couple of times, showing, because he was talking about my granddad, because my grandfather had passed away and his belongings came to us. And he said, oh, did you see this? And we couldn't touch it. It was, how you feel like a spider or something, trying to touch it, and it was like, oh, can't touch it.
Repulsed,
every time you touched
yes.
it was like a repulsed feeling, and
Oof.
I couldn't. Nobody could touch it at all. My dad couldn't touch it. My sisters didn't. Even my brother-in-law, who he's a very firm person. He was like, no, can't touch that thing. Can't touch it.
Mm.
Now the medal, anybody would touch that, but that belt buckle, nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody. It was as though when it was out of the pouch, you had that feeling. You had like a repressive, kind of almost scared, horrible, sickening feeling when it was out. And when it was put back into the pouch and back in the drawer, that feeling lifted. And eventually, my mum or whoever had said to, Dad, can you get rid of it? Just please get rid of it, because it's, even he said it was disturbing the house. He said, it's disturbing the house. I'll get rid of it. He went to a person who was interested in artifacts from a certain time period, and he just sold it. And ever since, we were so, it was as though like a weight had been lifted from the house now that wasn't there. It was, again, it wasn't illegal to own it, because lots of people brought certain artifacts back.
Yes, I mean, they souvenired things, essentially, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody else has had like a really weird feeling around an object. Like a certain object, like like something that somebody else has owned.
I see, yes, I understand. So let's see, what have we got in the chat here? We've got, I have a Kriegsmarine cap badge, says Baby with a Laser. I had my doubts about it first, but nothing's happened since owning that, so that's not bad. What have we got here? I saw something else, I'm sure. Shrapnel from Hawthorne Ridge. I don't know what Hawthorne Ridge is, I'm sorry. Don't know what that is. But nobody's got anything coming through on the chat. However, it's you're talking the realms of psychometry, aren't you? And there are famous, let's say, affected items around the world. There is a painting called The Crying Boy, which is a Giovanni somebody, and they reckon that's linked to house fires. Anyone who owns it, the house burns down. There's the Dybbuk box, which is like a wine cabinet that's supposed to bring bad luck. The Hope Diamond, actually, which is a kind of blue, sort of violet blue sort of colour, and believed to cause misfortune and death. There's loads of stuff. Wood from the petrified forest in the national park, the petrified forest, supposedly brings you bad luck. There is a cloth doll called Robert. Now that's creepy on its own.
Yep, I've heard of Robert, yes.
Yeah, and it causes accidents and misfortunes to those who fail to respect it, apparently. Rudolph Valentino's ring, apparently, said to have led to the early death of many owners. There's quite a lot of such, and of course Annabelle, which it's got to be a bunch of absolute what's it called, publicity, hasn't it? The Annabelle thing, it must be. But yes, there are many such objects around the world. In fact, Hawthorne Ridge is the largest explosion ever. Oh gosh, until Nagasaki, Hiroshima. First World War left a massive crater called Hawthorne Ridge. And Buster's laughing at Valentino's ring, yes. His finger ring, Buster, finger ring, yes.
Actually, when Darren Jump said the pouch shield it from everyone, I've actually got to point something out. Inside that pouch was my granddad's Bible, which he actually took into battle.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if was it the Bible that was sort of going, I'm shielding, maybe it's like, I'm shielding you all from everything.
Possibly so, possibly so.
Please. Again, I'm glad it's gone, because every time that we looked at that drawer, every time it was taken, I'm like, you almost felt sick.
Yeah.
It was like you almost felt, when it came out, you almost felt sick, like a very dizzy, very sick kind of thing. You couldn't touch it. You couldn't. In fact, at one point, one particular day, it was on the edge of the settee, and I just sort of moved up the settee, because I was like, I don't want to go near that thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going near you chinks.
And, it's a certain object. And again, as with the previous caller, certain places and locations, you get these vibrations, essentially. from them. But, we spoke about quantum entanglement and this teleportation of information between different quantum states of particles and so on. I mean, it all sounds similar because the whole haunted object thing, let's say, is that, it's somehow imbued with memory and sensation and history, isn't it? And that by touching the object, you get a window into that time or that piece of space. And that's really similar to this concept of quantum entanglement. Again, a lot of things come back to that for me.
Yeah, it does make sense as well. It does make sense that you feel kind of entangled into that. But I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm just glad I'm glad my dad got rid of it, because I hated that object. I hated it with a passion. And well, there's nicer things in that pouch. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's good.
There was my granddad's Bible that he took into war. There was a postcard he sent to my grandmother. His own war medals, and maybe it was the Bibles and the war medals going, no, back.
Yes,
back.
Who knows?
Bad thing. Bad.
And that's the thing, isn't it? You'll never get an answer to that, will you? So it's
no. But I just, like I said, I was just like, when he said, "Oh, I've got rid of it," I'm like, "Oh, thank God." When you just think, "Oh, thank God, you've got rid of that."
Yeah,
can't bear that in that house.
Relief.
In fact, nobody would open the drawer. Nobody would open the drawer at one point because it was in there. I'm like,
isn't it odd?
If you needed because we used to keep, strangely enough, in there was some spare cables for I think it was for the television. So every time somebody was there, it's like, go in that drawer, get a spare cable. I'm like, nope.
you get it. Yeah.
I'm not opening that drawer.
Yes.
That thing's gonna no. Oh. It made you, when you were there, it made your hands sort of want to waggle because it was just.
I understand. Yeah. Do you ever get that feeling with people?
Yes, I have met a few people who I do get that from. I was again, it's not really weird, but I did once know someone who they acted very kind towards other people, and I'm like, I don't like you. When you get that, like you said, that feeling. I once met a person who they were very kind to other people on the outside. And I couldn't figure out why did I not like this person? Why did I not want to be around them? There's nothing wrong with them. Turned out, down on the line, they were arrested for a certain crime.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
And you can tell, and this is what I was talking about, your gut instincts, that they are real, I think. I really do think they're real. There's some instincts that I wish I didn't have. Like, why do I always get the instinct that every time every time your stream finishes, my dog always like, feed me. That's one instinct. Oh, there, that's
like, yeah. He's like, oh, it's over. Oh, can I have a treat now? Treat.
Yeah, that's it, you see. And that's the best instinct, I think. The feed me instinct. Yeah. It certainly is.
The feed me, eat me, love me kind of instinct.
That's it, yes. So let's throw this open then to the chat then. What's our question here? Does anybody have a story about... Well, you asked the question, Fleur. It's your question.
Has anybody experienced an object that you didn't feel comfortable being near? Whether it be something that was in your house, somebody else's house, a museum, doesn't matter where it is. If you want to put it in the comment section, please, or if you want to call Eerie, tell them about it, because I was, again, the other day, I'd been to I think it was because I'd been to like a charity shop and I'd seen some, old like things in the charity shop. I'm like, oh, I wonder what these are like. And sometimes you're like, maybe I might not buy them, because you never know.
Exactly. Yeah. I won't go
But
rummaging through the jewelry section. Yes, because you don't know what I'm going to pick up.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to pick up. Then again, I never know. It might be good. It might be good.
Yeah, it might well be.
It might be a good deal.
That's it. Well, so listen to Fleur, everyone. Let's have your answers on the back of a postcard. Oh no, we can't do that anymore, can we? Let's put them in the chat then. And
put them in the chat.
Yes.
Call in.
Give a call if you've got something. Fleur, again, as always, thank you very much for your call. Indeed.
Thank you. Like I said, I've got plenty to tell.
You have.
Somebody said in there, do you think you're a jinx? I'm like, maybe. Maybe I'm a jinx.
Not a word of it. Not a word of it.
But thank you so much, Eerie, for having me. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Take care of yourself.
Cheerio. Goodbye.
Bye.
We're heading over to Phil now, who's got something for us from Liverpool.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. You're on Eerie's Vault Live.
Oh, hi, Liam. Thank you for having me back on the show. You might remember a couple of weeks back I called with an account that happened to me, actually, from many years ago.
I do. The ghost lady in the park.
That's the one.
Yeah, I do.
So since then, I've been obviously stoked my memory. And I remember a tale of a similar story that also concerns my hometown of Wiston. But I actually heard this it was actually on a radio phone-in show, not too dissimilar to this.
Okay.
About 20 years ago, but this was in the days of FM radio.
Yes.
And it was an interview with Tom Sleman. I'm not sure if you know of him. He's sort of considered Merseyside's premier paranormal investigator, and he has a very successful series of books called Haunted Liverpool. Which
yes.
Goodness, about 30 odd volumes now.
Gosh.
And this particular evening, he was being interviewed for his latest release, and he used this account as his sort of way to publicize his latest book. And it really sort of captured my attention. It's not particularly the most horrifying or gory account you'll ever hear, but there's certainly a human element to it. Not least because the victim in the story becomes ultimately a victim of theft, as well as a sort of paranormal encounter. And when I heard this being told, it sort of sparked a flurry of calls, who were people who had heard of or knew of this sort of entity, and separately to that, and subsequently, it was actually published in the Liverpool Echo local newspaper. And I've sent you the link on the WhatsApp page. So if you feel obliged, you could share that with your listeners at a later time.
Yeah.
So the names and the places are all already in the public domain. So I'm not sort of revealing anybody's identity here, but it all concerns a taxi driver by the name of Lewis Missenden, who was operating as a black cab driver in the Liverpool City region in the early 2000s. And the date was specified as Monday, the 13th of February 2006. He was operating late at night. It was a Monday, and he picked up a passenger on Berry Street, which, if you're familiar with Liverpool, is sort of right in the centre of the sort of Liverpool city nightlife. It's actually the road that connects what the locals refer to as the bombed out church to Chinatown. So it's sort of right in the city centre. He was flagged down, and a lone female entered the cabin. She was described as being young and wearing a pink bridal outfit complete with a train behind it. She entered the cab and requested to be dropped off on Windy Harbour Road in Wiston, which is sort of what sparked my attention.
Sure, yeah, it's close by, right?
Now that's a 10-mile journey, right? So that's in terms of a taxi, that's a good fare for a taxi driver, because you're talking 30 quid at least, right? So she gets in, she's alone. And if you've ever gotten a taxi in Liverpool, the one thing you're guaranteed is a good chat with the cabbie, and that's what she got. She was described as being jovial and communicative. The taxi driver asked her how she'd had a good night and where she'd been, and she described herself. She described the evening as she'd had a good time and everyone was very welcoming. And she'd been to a club called Flintlocks, which is interesting, and we'll come back to that later. The taxi driver wasn't aware of that place, but such is the case with inner city life of bars are opening and closing all the time. It's hard to keep up, right?
Yeah.
So the journey continues, and just at this time, the Winter Olympics had just started a couple of days earlier in Torino, and there must have been a lot of media attention at the time about these Winter Olympics, because the taxi driver asked the passenger had she been following any of it, and she just sort of gave him a sort of puzzled look. So he thought nothing of it, and conversation then moved to her outfit, because it was so distinctive, and he sort of questioned, had she been to some kind of celebration or maybe a wedding of some kind. And then this is where things started to change. She suddenly became very morose, and basically ended the conversation, and was sort of stared at her feet and didn't want to communicate any further. So I guess the taxi driver must have thought he maybe a touchy subject of some kind, or perhaps maybe she was even feeling unwell if she'd been drinking, perhaps. And basically, not another word was spoken for the rest of the journey. The report suggests that the taxi driver actually switched the radio on to sort of fill the silence,
Okay.
So as they approached the destination, they approach Windy Harbour Road. Now, Windy Harbour Road is a sort of 1.5 miles long, and it connects Wiston Village to the M62 motorway. And as you approach the M62 motorway, it's the road sort of thins out, and the houses become a bit more sparse, and becomes a bit more secluded. And this is where she requested to be dropped off. As they approached the road, the taxi driver asked the passenger exactly where she'd like to be dropped. And she requested to be dropped off by St. Nicholas's Church. So he pulled over a couple of minutes up the road and turned round to accept payment, which in those days, if you remember, this is before Uber and the likes, the good old black cabs where you paid the driver in the back of the cab in cash.
Yeah.
And to his surprise, she was exiting the vehicle, and perhaps he thought maybe she'll just wander around to the driver's window and pay him through the window. But what surprised him next was she began to flee. So this is a sort of, I guess, a taxi driver's worst nightmare, a 30 quid fare running away.
Yeah.
So he attempted to sort of pursue her, and he described her as stopping on the pavement and actually sort of climbing the wall into the graveyard of St. Nicholas's Church. Now, I've sent you the picture of the Google Maps image of that wall, and it would barely go up to your knee.
Yeah,
right?
It's maybe isn't it? Yeah.
A foot and a half if you're lucky. She sort of passed the threshold and then before his very eyes vanished into thin air. So can you imagine how he felt? You know, he sort of was very shaken up. He walked over to the spot, and he looked into the graveyard, and only to be met with a sort of moonlit, empty graveyard.
Gosh.
So not knowing really what to do next, he decided that he'd sort of end his shift early, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And he went back to what they used to call the taxi club. Now, Liverpool has a few of these. These are sort of 24-hour, let's say, meeting points for cabbies who might want to discuss anything or hand over keys and so on. And he went back there to sort of collect his thoughts and first of all register that he'd lost a fare, in the most unusual circumstances. And he must have met a friend of his who and he basically retold the tale. And as he's telling his pal the story, the look of fear of his friend sort of became apparent, because it suddenly became clear.
Oh God, he saw it too.
This is not the first time this has happened,
Oh.
and it hadn't happened to him, but it happened to, in the report, it's described as Tony Mack, who's presumably another cabbie.
Oh, okay.
And exactly the same person on the same route at the same destination had happened a few years before.
Oh.
And once they'd shared the story, it actually turns out that this has been happening since 1977. Actually.
Oh my goodness.
Have
they named her? Have they named the girl?
No, she's complete mystery. But going back to what she said, she described the club as being called Flintlocks.
Yes.
Now, I've tried to do a little bit of research, and there was a club called Flintlocks, but not on Berry Street. It was on Wood Street, but that closed in 1990. So this is sort of 16. This account that's in the Echo website is 16 years after that closed down. So it doesn't add up to me. And yeah, answers on a postcard, please. But it's been a mystery that's never really been solved, and it seems to happen on a fairly regular basis.
And isn't it strange? I mean, this is the first I've heard of this, and you'd think in this line of work, something that's been happening for 15 years or something? More than 15 years. 70s, did you say?
77, apparently the first recording.
15, more like 45, 46, for 49 years-ish. Gosh, that's... why haven't I heard of this before?
Yeah, it's a bizarre one. Yeah, and I think there's obviously people have tried to sort of understand it. Who is she? And I was thinking earlier, like the sort of seeing things is one thing, right? Like, but actually spending a 30-minute car journey.
Yeah, that's another level.
I don't know how you ever got over that.
Yeah, that must affect your life. I mean, you never get that out of your head, ever.
No. Because you're not just seeing something, you're actually interacting. It's completely different. Anyway, Liam, I'll let you get on to the next call, but love the show and keep it up.
Magic. Thank you very much, Phil. Thanks so much.
All the best.
Cheerio. Good night. So, what do we think of that? Chapesses. A ghost that comes back to a place that they experienced something unhappy, says Fleur. It sounds like it, doesn't it? Reminds me of the ghost of Bluebell Hill, actually. The girl there who actually is often struck by a car and then has vanished. When the driver gets out of the car thinking, goodness me, I'm going to jail because I've just run somebody over. Gosh, yes, spending 30... Can you just put yourself in that position? Okay, presumably this driver thought it was just a person. It's a person chatting, interacting. 30 minutes. 30 whole minutes. And then the vibe changes. She gets weird. She does a runner, vanishes. Absolutely vanishes. Greg says Telly Savalas's ghost story is weird. Now, I've heard of, I don't know this story, but a number of people in comments have said, have a look at the Telly Savalas ghost story. So I'll tell you what we'll do for the next show. If it's less than 5 minutes, give us a call now if you know what that story is. I'd like to get the gist of it, I think. If you can do it in under 5 minutes. Tony D says, such a lovely accent, Mr. Eerie. Thank you. It's a divisive one, as it turns out. I wasn't aware I had an accent until I began doing this, but yes, it's how I talk, innit? It's my accent. Who loves you, baby? Says Buster Piles. Yes, that was him, wasn't it? And the lollipops. I think it was the Kojak-headed entity video that I did, where people then started saying, do the Telly Savalas ghost story. Someone is going to have to call in and tell me about that one. The number's scrolling across the screen there. If you can tell me that story in less than 4 minutes, please do so. Yes, gosh, we've had some good calls tonight, haven't we? We certainly have. Didn't he get a lift home from a mystery man? Oh, gosh, I want to know. I'm not going to Google it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let one of you guys tell me. It's a longer story. You would do a good job of it. Okay. Do I need to research it? Shall we have a quick look of what it is? I'm intrigued now. Let's just find out if we can figure out what it is. He was a young actor in the 50s. One night his car ran out of petrol near Long Island. He started to walk to a station. A man in a black Cadillac pulled over and offered him a ride. The driver was described as polite, well-dressed, and a little strange. They chatted, and the man gave Savalas a $1 bill for petrol, saying he could pay him back later. He introduced himself as Harry Aganis. A day or so later, Savalas decided to return the $1. He found the Aganis family, only to learn that Harry had died a couple of years earlier. His description matched Cadillac Man exactly. Savalas was deeply shaken by this for the rest of his life. Gosh, that is a good one. I think I might do a video, as they say. That's YouTube parlance, isn't it? I'm going to do a video on that one. Jimi Hendrix and the Aliens. Gosh, there's more. Jimmy was an alien. What? Okay, I need to know about that one as well. Mr. Eerie, where in the UK are you from? Now, that is the biggest mystery on Eerie's Vault. Greg says there's more to that story. Okay, I feel like let's write this down, shall we? Let's find a pen. I live in one of those houses where pens just vanish. They vanish. Oh, there it is. Right. Telly Savalas ghost thing. And if your handwriting is as terrible as mine, you're going to understand that I probably won't be able to read that in the morning. So remind me anyway. Somebody email me or something and say, do the Telly Savalas video. I think that's the way to go. I think that's the way to do it. So, yes, a ghost pen. Now, it's right here now. I do have it. Pens go missing. My keys I had to buy. Well, I didn't buy. My wife actually purchased. It's a fabulous little device. We've gone off Eerie's Vault now onto something that I think might save some people's mental states. It's keys. I completely have it's a talent, I think. A talent for just losing my keys. I can have them in my hand and then suddenly they're gone. And, and I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm not talking about my keys slipping into an alternative dimension or something. I'm just saying I can lose my keys in an instant. Now, there's this thing called Tile, which is a little a little square that you put on your keyring, and you link it to your phone by Bluetooth. And if you've got Alexa and stuff like that, and I can say to my Alexa, Alexa, sorry, if anybody's got an Alexa at home, I never thought to do that. I can say a word, where are my keys? And she'll tell me, your keys were last seen here 10 minutes ago. Shall I ring them? And it rings my keys. My keys start making a little tune under the sofa or wherever it is I've just thrown them. It's wonderful. It's called Tile. I think you should have a look at that. Apparently the Moody Blues have a strange UFO story. Joe Pasquale had a good UFO story as well. I didn't know there were so many celebrity ghost stories, I have to say. Gosh. Joe Pasquale, eh? I need Jill Valentine, yes, with her lockpick. That would be good. I've been playing Resident Evil, actually, the Nemesis game, the original one. I tell you what I'm looking forward to. Silent Hill F came out yesterday, I think. Or today? Yesterday. There's Metal Gear Solid Delta. I've got to get that. These things are £70, though, at the moment. £70. I'm not buying that. Not straight away. There's Metal Gear Delta. There's Silent Hill F that's just come out. There's something called Tormented Souls, which is pretty good, actually. Also, Tormented Souls 2. What else? What else am I looking forward to on games? Resident Evil Requiem is coming out. However, apparently there's another stalker-type enemy in that now. Another big behemoth that just chases you around. I get tired of those. I like games. I like spooky. I call them computer games still. Video games, as Hank Hill might call them. There's a Sasquatch game, is there now? Really? That I will have to play. A Sasquatch game would be cool. I like games where you can walk around in spooky, creepy places and explore without having something chasing you. That's what I like. I like a bit of risk, you know, but I like to be able to control the risk, you know. And when they put these big stalker-type enemies into it's not Silent Hill. My brain is getting older. Resident Evil games kind of ruins it a bit. Kind of ruins them a bit. But yes, certainly looking forward to those. But I'm going to have to wait until those prices come down. Goodness me. Silent Hill F is £69.99. Delta's around £70. The Resident Evil one will be the same, won't it? So, yeah. Give it 2 years. Although, you know, the next generation of consoles will be out by then. I might go Xbox next time. I might go Xbox because apparently you can have the Steam store now. As you can tell, I've turned into an immense geek, haven't I? Alan Wake was good. I haven't finished it yet. The new one, that is. I finished the first one. Alan Wake was pretty cool, I have to say. I haven't quite finished it. But yes, one of my passions, spooky games. If you've got any good spooky game suggestions, email them to me and I will look them up. Chaps, chapesses, everybody, I would like to thank you very much for spending your evening with me tonight. Thank you to all our callers. Thank you to our emailers. John, I've ended up not getting to yours again. Sorry, I will do next time. But it won't be next week. Because next week I shall be overseas. So there will be no show. No live show next week at 9. However, I will be broadcasting my interview with Preston Dennett. And if you don't know who Preston Dennett is, he's... I can hardly believe I've had the opportunity to speak to him, actually. He is a researcher, author, lecturer from the US. He's been active in the field since, you know, mid to late 80s. UFO encounters, humanoid encounters. He's got tons of videos about humanoid encounters. Fascinating. Contactee videos. He's written 30-odd books and he's a pleasure to speak to. He was absolute pleasure to speak to. So that is going to be broadcast next week in lieu of a live show, because I should be overseas. But when we come back, which will be the 10th, then we'll be back on track, shan't we? So, thank you ever so much, all of you. It's been a blast. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.